Let's jump into the first case study. You're going to share one about a staffing company as it relates to doing a website redesign. So take it away.
Yeah. So Bay Area staffing company, kind of a hot category. Even now, not doing bad, but there are lots of tech firms there that are doing things like building prototypes, not just for software, but for hardware. And this is a company that can pull together diverse groups of people, of specialists and teams that can be sort of deployed as a unit in a lab or in a product development team. So well-established firm, very sales-driven go-to-market strategy. They know all the companies, they're building deepening relationships, but how to grow without having the clients, how to find new clients because they are already kind of saturated in their big players. I mean, they work with Google and Facebook and PayPal and all kinds of different businesses. So search is about discovery. Search will add to the pipeline. Search will grow the awareness for their brand. The problem was the existing site wasn't built with search in mind at all. So Steve, this is one of those classic examples of simply building a site that has some sensitivity to keywords and to relevance and to, a page per phrase, a page per service. So really this was some pretty low-hanging fruit, but the results are dramatic. 46% increase in traffic to those high-value commercial intent pages just by thinking in advance. The real takeaway here is that sites are either built with search in mind or they're not. You've got a page called services and it's about all of your services. That page isn't relevant to any specific service. So this was really about just building out the generic pages into small sections of keyword focused pages. I mean, it's not uncommon for website projects to be sufficient to have a big impact on search traffic without any other activity, just because there's lots of URLs targeting lots of phrases and the content on them has lots of detail on that topic.
Yeah. Do you find, I imagine that every website is a little bit different because someone in an organization owns it. And sometimes it's brand, sometimes it's content, sometimes it could be SEO or parts of it might be SEO. Do you find that as like your first challenge in any project is to understand who owns it because that is going to have a dramatic effect on how they think and structure it?
Yeah, if you work backwards from the ideal outcome, qualified visitor lands on Webpage because they saw something good in search results and clicked it, because that company or that page ranked in search for that phrase. So if it's going to work well, regardless of who the owner is or what their domain expertise is, you have to have URLs that are relevant to specific topics. Now, how does that align or misalign with different roles? I love your question. Brand, not always really keyword focused, not always thinking about how to reverse engineer demand. They're thinking more about the big picture and the story and the strategy and what wins the sales conversation. Very important for conversions, but sometimes those people tend to deprioritize search. Other marketers, maybe a little bit overly focused on search. People who have a background in pay-per-click, maybe they're just they over-index on this keyword stuff. There's more to it than rankings. You're trying to convert a visitor. So it's a great question. We've seen it work all different ways, but ultimately somebody needs to be willing to do the upfront research and then during copywriting to make some of the little compromises or to adapt the content and keyword targeting a little bit. When those things combine, it works very well.
Yeah. Do you recommend, is there a one-size-fits-all approach or is it best to say, you know what, there are certain parts of the website that need to do a lot of storytelling. Some might be more long-term SEO-driven pages. Like, is there a hybrid model? What do you suggest?
Well, it's not true that every page is a keyword opportunity. So you're really, right there on the nose. That's it exactly. The About page doesn't need any keyword targeting at all. That page is not optimized to rank for any specific phrase. Just look at any URL and ask, like, someone trying to find this would search for what? And there's lots of pages on the internet that no one's trying to find. They're doing other jobs. That's normal. That's fine. So no, the home page is typically a good keyword opportunity. It's the page that has the greatest authority, therefore the greatest ranking potential. So you can target the most competitive key phrase on the home page. This is why home is the all-time worst title tag for a home page. Please use your business categories, your homepage title tag and header text. That way you at least got your best competitor in the toughest competition. And then all of those top level interior pages can target often, the commercial intent key phrases. In other words, the names of your services as described by your audience, right? In my experience, people don't really search for solutions. The only people who use the word solutions are people who sell stuff. I've hundreds of hours of keyword research in my career. I've never seen the word solutions appear. People don't search for solutions. I don't need it. My sink's leaking. I don't need a plumbing solution. Honey, we need a plumbing solution. Like nobody's ever said that.
Yep.
And then those deeper interior pages can target the more specific phrases. Some of those don't have to be in the main navigation. They can be off nav pages, but that's step one in SEO strategy.
Yep. So for this client, we mentioned redesign, but what's the balance between like, all right, there's a big concerted effort for a redesign push versus now this is an ongoing thing if you really want to do a good job. How did you balance that for this client?
The blunt way to put it is that search is a job that's never really done. There's no such thing as like finishing SEO in a way, because there's going to be new content and new pages published on that topic, whatever key phrase you're targeting. There's going to be more competition coming along here before long. And algorithms change, although that doesn't affect search rankings as much in my experience as people think. So it is sometimes efficient or sufficient to just make a page that targets the phrase, and that page ranks and can rank for a long period of time. But if you're ever unsatisfied with your performance in search, then that just means you're not done yet. You have to go back, look at that page, see what it's currently performing for, ask if you've really sharpened the focus on that as their keyword to target. If not, maybe adjust the keyword targeting. If it is a good keyword for that page, then you need to add depth to that, go big on the details, answer all the related questions, touch on all the related subtopics. So it's really just a matter of revolution, rebuild the website. If you're not done yet, if you're not ranking yet, if you're not attracting qualified visitors yet, then you move to evolution, which is that ongoing battle of just continuously improving pages. It's fun when it works well. It's like a sport, and you get to analytics are your scoreboard.
Yep. Yeah. So for this client, were they already there philosophically with you, or was it a bit of a pushback? Because I imagine some clients are all about, nope, we're going to do the redesign. We're going to need you guys for like 30 days and then we can part ways. How were they to work with?
Well, this is an example of a client that had a lot of business success and evidence that their current go-to-market strategy was working. So they're selling and they're successful as such. So we didn't have to put a ton of prioritization on search. They were okay with us doing SEO as we planned and built the pages, but they didn't feel like they weren't overly detail oriented on the construction of these pages. So they let us do the job that we had planned to do. And that was nice because there are clients that are poorly suited to get search results, performance in SEO because they're unwilling to adapt their content to help it get discovered. Search is an information retrieval technology. And to have your information retrieved, you need to align it with the things that people are searching for and trying to retrieve. So there are brands that are just unwilling to make any changes to the writing to them is precious, and they don't want to change the headline. They don't want to change the brand story. They don't want to go long or deep. They want to just prioritize being sort of clever, I guess, sometimes, or they like their tagline as the header, even if that's not a keyword-focused thing. But this company was fine with all of our suggestions and just let us run the plan, and almost a 50% increase in qualified visitors post-launch. So it worked well.
That's great. What kind of time frame are we talking about for those results?
2 months.
Wow.
Yeah. Sometimes that's visible within 1 month. You can't see results in less than 1 month, really, because it's not reliable. You're doing pre-post analysis. So basically going to the organic search as your default channel group in analytics and looking at the current 2 months post-launch, the 2 months pre-launch, assuming there's no seasonality in that time frame. If there is some seasonality, this is a company that has some ups or downs depending on the holidays or whatever, then you choose the year over year. So it's all a question of, in website redesigns, you're making many changes, changing the code and the design and the copy. So you really need to let it bake for a little while before you can start to do that measurement.
Yep. Makes sense. Anything else on the first case study before we jump into number 2?
No, but if there's a takeaway for anyone listening, just make sure that you've got a page per phrase. Google does not rank websites, it ranks web pages. Google's never ranked a website. URLs are what ranks. So if you're wondering why you don't rank for something, just ask yourself, do I have a page on my site that is totally focused on this topic? If not, that's your next step.
Yep.